The presence of far-right groups in Ukraine is a complex and sensitive issue, deeply intertwined with the country's tumultuous history. To understand the current landscape, we must first delve into the historical roots that have shaped these groups and their ideology. One cannot discuss Ukrainian nationalism without acknowledging the controversial figure of Stepan Bandera, a prominent figure in the organization of Ukrainian nationalists during the first half of the 20th century.
Glory, 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 they chant. Bandera is considered a hero by some, but denounced as a World War II Nazi collaborator by others.
Bandera's legacy remains deeply contested. While some revere him as a hero who fought for Ukrainian independence, others condemn him for his collaboration with Nazi Germany during World War II.
Stepan Bandera believed in an ethnically pure Ukraine.
The OUN, under Bandera's leadership, saw an opportunity to achieve Ukrainian independence amidst the chaos of war, even if it meant aligning with a regime known for its brutality. This period saw atrocities committed against Poles and Jews, further complicating the historical narrative.
This is political true crime.
Stepan Bandera remains a deeply polarizing figure in Ukrainian history. Born in 1909, Bandera rose to prominence as a leader of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, or OUN. The OUN, founded in 1929, advocated for an independent Ukrainian nation free from Soviet, Polish, and other foreign rule. Bandera's fervent nationalism, however, was often intertwined with extreme and violent ideologies.
The Organization of Ukraine Nationalism is known for its nationalist agenda and terrorist attacks. On the 15th of June 1934, Bronisław Piraki, the Polish Minister of the Interior, was assassinated by Stepan Bandera's faction.
On that fateful day, Bronisław Piraki, Poland's Minister of the Interior, was assassinated outside a social club in Warsaw.
The assassination plot was hatched at an OUN meeting in Berlin.
Initially, Polish authorities mistakenly blamed the Polish National Radical Camp, leading to the creation of the Bereza Kartuska prison for dissidents. It was only a year later that the OUN's involvement was revealed. A high-profile trial in Warsaw from November 1935 to January 1936 saw 16 OUN members, including Bandera, convicted. Sentences ranged from death, commuted to life imprisonment, to several years in prison.
Bandera spent several years in prison before being released in 1939 when Poland was invaded by Nazi Germany, which allowed him to continue his nationalist activities, this time under Nazi collaboration.
The Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, or OUN, emerged from the turmoil of early 20th century Europe. Founded in Vienna in 1929, the OUN united various Ukrainian nationalist factions under one banner. The group yearned for an independent Ukraine, free from external rule. However, their vision extended beyond mere liberation. They dreamt of an ethnically pure Ukrainian state, achieved through any means necessary. This ideology, deeply rooted in the writings of Dmitry Dontsov, embraced violence as a tool for political change. Dontsov's ideas, infused with elements of Italian fascism and German Nazism, resonated with the OUN's core beliefs. Bandera's fervent nationalism, however, was often intertwined with extreme and violent ideologies. His vision of an independent Ukraine excluded those he deemed non-Ukrainian, particularly Poles and Jews. Bandera's early activism was marked by his commitment to Ukrainian self-determination. He quickly ascended within the OUN, becoming a key figure in its radical faction. This faction believed that violence was a necessary tool to achieve their goals. Under Bandera's leadership, the OUN carried out assassinations and acts of sabotage against Polish officials and institutions. These actions cemented his image as a revolutionary figure for some, but a dangerous extremist for others. The outbreak of World War II presented both opportunities and dilemmas for the OUN. The organization fractured in 1940, splitting into two distinct factions. The OUN-M, led by Andrei Melnik, advocated a more moderate approach. The OUN-B, under the leadership of Stepan Bandera, remained committed to their radical ideology, embracing the chaos of war as a chance to advance their goals. When Nazi Germany invaded Soviet Ukraine in 1941, The OUNB saw a chance to exploit the situation. They declared an independent Ukrainian state in Lviv, aligning themselves with the Nazi regime. This collaboration, born out of a shared hatred for the Soviet Union, proved to be a Faustian bargain. The OUNB's involvement in the Lviv pogroms, a series of horrific massacres targeting Jewish civilians, remains a dark stain on their legacy. Their role in the Holocaust, while debated by some, is undeniable. Driven by their vision of an ethnically pure Ukraine, they participated in the persecution and extermination of Jews, Poles, and other minorities. The end of World War II did not bring peace to Ukraine. The OUNB, now operating as the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, or UPA, continued their fight against Soviet forces. Their goal remained the same: an independent Ukraine. However, their methods, honed during years of conflict, remained brutal. The Volhynia massacres, a series of ethnic cleansing operations targeting Polish civilians in 1943–44, stand as a chilling testament to this brutality. Despite their violent past, the UPA found unlikely allies in the West. As the Cold War intensified, the CIA and other Western intelligence agencies saw the UPA as a useful tool against the Soviet Union. They provided funding, training, and logistical support, turning a blind eye to the UPA's past atrocities. This support, driven by Cold War realpolitik, allowed the UPA to sustain their insurgency for years. They became a thorn in the side of the Soviet regime, a symbol of Ukrainian resistance. However, their legacy remained deeply contested, their wartime actions casting a long shadow over their struggle for independence. The outbreak of World War II presented both an opportunity and a moral dilemma for Bandera and the OUN. They saw the conflict as a chance to exploit the chaos and advance their goal of an independent Ukraine. However, this ambition led them to make a fateful alliance with Nazi Germany, a decision that would forever taint Bandera's legacy. However, the alliance between the OUN and Nazi Germany was fraught with tension and ultimately short-lived. The Nazis had their own plans for Ukraine, envisioning it as a colony rather than an independent state. When the OUN declared an independent Ukrainian state in 1941, the Nazis swiftly cracked down, arresting Bandera and imprisoning him in a concentration camp. Despite this betrayal, the UPA continued to operate throughout the war, engaging in a complex and brutal conflict against both Soviet forces and Polish civilians. The UPA's actions during this period remain a source of immense controversy. While some argue that they were primarily fighting for Ukrainian liberation, their collaboration with the Nazis and their role in the ethnic cleansing of Poles cannot be ignored. The UPA's atrocities, particularly the Volhynia massacres, continue to cast a dark shadow over Bandera's legacy and strain Ukrainian-Polish relations to this day. Despite his collaboration with the Nazis, Bandera's imprisonment in a concentration camp from 1941 to 1944 transformed his image in the eyes of many Ukrainians. He was no longer seen as a Nazi collaborator, but as a victim of Nazi suppression, a martyr for the cause of Ukrainian independence. Following his release in 1944, Bandera remained active in Ukrainian nationalist circles, operating from exile in West Germany. He continued to advocate for Ukrainian independence, becoming a symbol of resistance against Soviet rule. His assassination in 1959 by a KGB agent only served to solidify his martyr status, particularly in Western Ukraine. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 ushered in a new era for Ukraine and a resurgence of Bandera's popularity. With Ukraine's newfound independence, many looked to Bandera as a national hero. Streets were renamed in his honor, monuments were erected, and his image became ubiquitous in nationalist circles. However, Bandera's legacy remains deeply contested, particularly in the context of Ukrainian-Polish relations. The Volhynia massacres, a series of brutal ethnic cleansings carried out by the UPA against Polish civilians between 1943 and 1945, remain a deeply painful and divisive issue.
If you want to support Peace Productions, please subscribe to our Patreon. The link is on the screen.